Welcome back to Mythen und Sagen in Sachsen.
Mm.
We're staying in Leipzig for this deep dive.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to be talking about one of the most famous figures in German folklore, I guess, the White Lady.
The White Lady.
Now, she appears in lots of different places all over Germany.
Right.
But we're focusing specifically on the Leipzig one today.
That's right.
And she haunts a place called the Pfarrerwohnung.
Yes, the Pfarrerwohnung.
What is that?
That's the pastor's apartment.
Oh, okay.
And it's attached to the famous St. Thomas Church
Oh, wow.
here in Leipzig.
So the one with the boys' choir.
That's the one.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Cool.
So what makes this White Lady story so special?
Well, the Leipzig White Lady is special because her story has a connection to real historical events.
Ooh, okay. I like when that happens.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about it.
Okay, so our story begins in 1591. It was a time of political and religious upheaval in Saxony, and it revolves around Chancellor Krell. He was a powerful figure who had many supporters, but also many enemies.
Oh, so we're already starting off with some drama.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And caught in the middle of this drama was Pastor Gunderman. He was the resident pastor of St. Thomas Church and a supporter of Krell.
So what happened to him?
When Krell fell from grace, his supporters were persecuted, and Pastor Gunderman was arrested and imprisoned in the Pleißenberg?
The Pleißenberg.
Yes, a medieval castle right here in Leipzig. But that's only half the story. Gunderman's wife was heavily pregnant at the time, and she witnessed the mob mistreating her husband as he was taken away.
Oh my gosh. That's awful.
It was a horrific experience for her. Unable to bear the thought of losing her husband, and fearing for her own safety, she took her own life.
Oh, that is so sad. But how does this connect to the White Lady legend?
Well, the detail that really solidifies this connection is how Pastor Gunderman's wife ended her life. She hung herself in the Pfarrerwohnung.
Using a Brattenwender.
A Brattenwender.
A Brattenwender.
It's a Brattenwender.
It's a type of meat turner, a long-handled kitchen utensil. Oh, wow. That is a chilling image. That's a detail that would definitely stick with you.
It is, and it did. This tragedy gave birth to the legend of the White Lady. People began to whisper about a restless spirit, forever tied to the place of her death.
So the Pfarrerwohnung became her domain.
Precisely.
Okay.
And in German folklore, white ladies are often associated with tragic events and frequently appear as harbingers of death.
So she becomes like a ghostly omen.
That's one interpretation.
A warning sign.
Yeah. And this particular white lady is said to appear in the Pfarrerwohnung whenever the resident pastor is about to die.
Like she's there to usher them into the afterlife. I'm starting to understand why people would be so afraid of her.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a chilling thought, especially if you consider that there are accounts of sightings being particularly frequent between 1736 and 1750 when several pastors died in succession.
Wow. Imagine living in the Pfarrerwohnung during those years. Every creak of the floorboard, every flicker of a candle. You'd be constantly looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, it must have been incredibly unsettling. And this brings us to a fascinating aspect of White Lady legends. They're not unique to Leipzig. You find them in many castles and noble families throughout Germany, but with different backstories.
So it's like a recurring theme,
Yeah.
but with local variations.
Exactly. Even some very famous figures claim to have encountered white ladies, like Napoleon himself is said to have witnessed one, and so did King Friedrich I of Prussia.
Wow. So the belief in white ladies transcended social classes. That's interesting how one figure from folklore could be so widespread.
It really is. And it makes you wonder if maybe people were almost expecting to see a white lady if something bad happened. Like they were looking for an explanation in the face of the unknown.
Yeah, that makes sense. When we can't explain something, we tend to create stories to fill in the gaps. In this case, the explanation becomes this ghostly figure, the White Lady.
Precisely. But this raises another interesting question. What makes the story of the White Lady in the Pfarrerwohnung so compelling, especially to people here in Leipzig?
Good question. Is it simply the spooky factor, or is there something more to it?
I think it's the blend of history and the supernatural.
Yeah.
We have a tangible location, the Pfarrerwohnung, a real historical tragedy, the death of Pastor Gunderman's wife, and then this layer of mystery and the unknown.
Right, so it's like a real-life ghost story, a reminder that the past is never truly gone.
Exactly. It speaks to our fascination with things we can't explain, the shadows that lurk at the edges of our understanding.
Right, like a glimpse into the past, a reminder that tragedy and loss are woven into the very fabric of this city.
Yeah. And on a deeper level, I think the White Lady reflects our anxieties about death and the unknown. She's a symbol of mortality, a reminder that our time on Earth is finite.
So she's not just a ghost story. She's a reflection of something much deeper, our fears, our hopes, and our attempts to make sense of life and death.
Beautifully put. And that, I think, is the true power of the White Lady legend. It's a story that continues to resonate with us even centuries later because it speaks to something very human, something universal.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even though we might try to rationalize and explain away the unknown, there's still a part of us that's drawn to mystery, to the things that go bump in the night.
Absolutely. And that's why these legends endure for centuries. They
Yeah.
captivate and intrigue us, even in a world where science and technology seem to have all the answers.
Yeah, and in a way it's comforting, isn't it? Knowing that we're not alone in grappling with these questions, that people have been telling these stories, searching for meaning in the face of the unknown for generations.
It is comforting. And it's a reminder that even in the darkest of stories, there can be a glimmer of something beautiful, something that sparks our imagination and makes us wonder about the nature of existence itself.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. And, even though we've been focusing on the White Lady in Leipzig, her story isn't the only one that captures the imagination in Saxony.
Oh, that's right. We were exploring Mythen und Sagen in Sachsen, and this episode is all about Leipzig. Exactly. Saxony is full of tales of mythical creatures and ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena. It's a treasure trove of folklore, and we've only just scratched the surface.
So tell me, what other creatures or legends might we encounter if we were to go on a spooky road trip through Saxony?
Well, we could start with the mischievous kobolds, who love to play tricks on unsuspecting humans, especially in mines and underground places.
Kobolds, are those like little gnome-like creatures?
Exactly. They're often depicted as small bearded men with mischievous grins. Sometimes they're helpful and sometimes they're troublesome. It all depends on their mood.
Sounds like you have to be careful not to get on their bad side.
That's good advice. And then we have the Nyx's water spirits who lure people to watery graves with their enchanting songs.
Oh, those are a classic. I always picture them as beautiful women with long flowing hair sitting on rocks by the riverbank, combing their hair and singing.
It's a haunting image, isn't it? They're often associated with rivers and lakes, and their stories serve as a warning to be careful around water.
Respect the water, respect the Nyxes.
What else? How about some werewolves? Saxony has its fair share of werewolf legends, tales of men who transform into savage beasts under the full moon.
Werewolves. I always found those stories particularly chilling. Is there a specific Saxon werewolf legend that stands out to you?
Well, the Ore Mountains, or Erzgebirge as they are called in German, are known for their mining history, and with mines often come stories of dark creatures lurking in the depths. It wouldn't be surprising to find some werewolf tales originating from those dark and mysterious places.
So if we're planning a trip to the Ore Mountains, maybe we should pack some extra silver just in case.
It couldn't hurt to be prepared. And of course, no discussion of Saxon folklore would be complete without mentioning the Wild Hunt.
Ah, the Wild Hunt. That's one of those legends that sends shivers down your spine even just thinking about it.
It's a truly terrifying concept. Imagine a ghostly procession of hunters and hounds led by a spectral figure, often a mythical king or a condemned soul. They ride through the night sky, heralding misfortune and death to those who cross their path.
It's like a supernatural storm sweeping across the land, leaving a trail of fear and unease in its wake.
Exactly. The Wild Hunt is a powerful symbol of the forces of nature, of the untamed wilderness, and of the inevitability of death.
It's a reminder that even in the modern world, there are still things we can't fully understand, powers beyond our control.
And that's perhaps what makes these legends so enduring. They tap into our primal fears, our fascination with the unknown, and our desire to make sense of the world around us.
It's like they offer a glimpse into the soul of a place, the beliefs and anxieties that have shaped its history and culture.
And through these stories, we can connect with the people who came before us, share their fears, their hopes, and their wonder at the mysteries of the world.
This has been such an incredible journey into the world of Saxon folklore. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about the legends themselves, but about the people who created and shared them, and what those stories tell us about the human experience.
Me too. It's been a pleasure exploring these fascinating tales with you.
And for our listeners who want to explore more of these legends, I highly recommend checking out the Sagenfigur website. They have a fantastic collection of stories, maps, and information about all sorts of mythical creatures and spooky locations throughout Saxony.
It's a wonderful resource for anyone who wants to delve deeper into the rich folklore of this region.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the myths and legends of Saxony. We'll be back soon with another fascinating tale from this region steeped in history and folklore. Until then, keep your ears open for the whispers of the past. You never know what stories might be lurking just around the corner.